Okay.
Having to read by 20 or 30 a
I'd like
month.
to call this meeting, if we can. I got 7:07. Thank you for coming. It's January 23rd, 2018, and we have a quorum, and it's good to see you. Did everybody see the minutes of the last meeting? Are there any corrections, additions, subtractions?
Is that the shortest meeting on record?
It was pretty short. Okay. Hearing nothing, let's have a motion to accept the minutes. Someone, anyone, please make a motion.
I wasn't here, so I probably
Yeah.
can't.
Thanks. All right, and then a second from someone else that was here.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, let's move on. Ramona, I don't want to put you on the spot, but treasurer's report's next.
I don't have anything.
I know.
I'm still trying to get in.
Don't feel guilty. We're just glad you're here.
You have this.
Yes, you guys have statements in front of you.
Just say that the first page, cash flow, is a look at our municipal appropriations.
Outlays, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second page is a balance sheet for our special accounts
Yep.
right now. Not 12/31/2018, but I automatically just set it to the end of the accounting period, so.
Oh. Well, that's ahead of us, huh?
Okay. Any questions? Everybody look at it? Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. And that brings up, we're up to you today. How are you?
I'm doing
Let's
okay.
go right to director's report.
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Director's report will be pretty short because we've got a lot of other stuff to get through. I made a new format for the Douglas Way newsletter. As per my review, I need to do that more regularly, so I put it in a format that's easier to update. Sent one out yesterday. We do have Senior Center Book Club coming up. We have Betsy is starting a knitting class. So
I saw that.
go to the website and register. She's only going to take 6 students, but she wants people who already know how to knit scarves, but she's going to sort of teach you to transition from knitting flat to knitting in the round.
Cool.
And we, one of our favorite patrons, Donna Brown, gave us a new coffee pot. So we have a new coffee pot in the staff room. It's awesome. And everything else I have to report is pretty much covered elsewhere in the agenda.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Who gave the coffee pot?
Donna Brown. She's the new member in your book club, the Intrepid Readers. She came 2 times ago. I'm not sure she came the last time. 'Cause
Blonde hair?
white hair.
Light hair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she saw the coffee pot we brought out, you know, for the friends.
Yeah.
Or for the book
Yeah.
club, and she decided we needed a new one. So
Okay, good.
she brought us one in.
Good. Any other comments, questions for the director? With that, I'd like to move to old business, building renovation, parking lots. And the first one on that is the lights, and I'll tell you outright, it's been too cold. So we're not going to accomplish anything there until, I'm not sticking you up in a bucket truck when it's this cold. Okay?
Should I ask for an estimate on what it would cost to replace it with like a good light instead of jerry rigging the old one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's do it once and do it right.
Yeah.
And the way
Because
it works-
I can ask Adam, and then he'll talk to Elanco, and then they can get us an estimate on how
Mhm.
much it would be to have it, professionally fixed, maybe with wider beams, whatever is needed to cover the entire lot, and then I
Mhm.
can bring that back next month.
Yeah, well, the winter's not getting any better, so,
It's like 50 degrees outside right now.
yeah, it's beautiful out. Right.
Well, the town's under green energy and they're looking to get the streetlights downtown replaced. Maybe we can get in on that grant.
Possibly.
Oh, to solar
a-
light?
LEDs, I thought,
LED?
yeah, but not in the immediate future.
No, because the highway department would have to take liability for the lights then.
But it would be smart
Well, it
if we
is
got a
town
light, it
property.
would be LED.
Yeah, I would get an
Yeah,
LED
sure.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, but
absolutely.
And
the
if
old
I
lights
just if we
are-
just
the
end up
liability
jury-rigging the
is
old
on
light,
the-
I'm just
the
basically
power
putting in an
companies
LED
to
bulb that
replace.
has a ballast bypass.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Any other items for building renovation? Yep.
Yes. I called the Massachusetts Office on Disabilities today because the grant round was supposed to be announced on January 15th and I hadn't heard anything. Which either meant that we did not get the grant or they were behind schedule. We were not selected for the first round of grants. But they said that the reason they have not sent out rejection letters is because they do expect a lot of the initial grantees to either not go through with the contract or pull out of the program, which would free up funds so they could do a second wave. So I mean, their message was kind of like, don't give up hope, but you just weren't selected for
So
the
you're on
first
the
round.
waiting list?
But yeah, basically we're on the waiting list. So it's the $250,000 renovation grant is not something I'm anticipating at this point. It could happen, but I wouldn't bank on it. At least not this year. I'll apply in the fall again, and maybe next year our case will be stronger.
Okay.
So no $250,000 ADA renovations.
Wouldn't that be something?
But we didn't want that money anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No. All right, anything else on building renovations? With that, I want to move to Friends.
Friends are, where's Kate? Did you get my email?
I did.
Okay.
Did I email you back?
I don't
meant
know.
to.
I don't think so.
But once I get everything, that's
Okay.
no problem.
All right. So we're waiting on one item, and I'll follow up hopefully on that.
We're also waiting on 2 more reams of paper because I got the paper delivery today and it was short. So
okay.
I put in a call to our WB Mason rep.
Okay. We'll be sending out. I'm hoping within the next week the solicitation for 2018 membership in the Friends. So that will be nice. And there was something else. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I did all my reports. So I sent to the IRS. I didn't have to write much to them, and that was free. And the report I was supposed to give to them, and I hadn't for the last 3 years because I didn't think I had to. And then we got denied our charity or 501c3 stuff, and so then I had to reapply for it all, and I got all that done. So then I thought, all right, I'm going to just put it in early January, and I qualify, or the Friends qualify because they aren't big buck charities for the easy form, and so I looked up the easy form, and it was easy. It was basically, we don't have that much money. We don't bring in $10,000 or more, or $50,000. I can't remember what it was a year. So that's all you have to say. I don't. The state, however, that was weird. I decided to do it online with the state, and in the past I've done it, and it's through the Secretary of State, in paper form. I just handwrite it down and mail it into them, and it cost me $15. Well, to do it online, and it's exactly the same information, except it's online, they charge you $18.50.
Convenience.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, it is, because,
Should be
I mean,
that.
I'm causing them less work by doing it online. So why are they charging me more to do it online? You know, because then otherwise they'd have to type in all the hand
Yeah,
stuff
they have
that
to
I do.
rekey everything,
Yeah.
so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So that's not my idea of efficient government. So that's all the Friends have to say.
Okay. Any questions? No? All right, good. Director's review. Justin and I met last week. You know, I beat him up pretty bad,
Yeah, he looks it.
but he,
I got some 3.8s out of
yeah,
5s.
yeah,
I cried.
I know, he was upset, but it was a good review, and that is all set for another season. All right, do I have any other old business?
Yeah, did you pass it into?
Yep.
What's
I
it?
actually did all that today. I got
Okay.
like all of our employees' reviews because I reviewed everybody at the library for the first time ever. And so I was actually able, like I took that personnel board packet and, you know, like half the packet is based on, you know, did you meet objectives set forth last year? It's
Yeah.
like, well, that's not applicable because we've had no objectives because
Yeah.
these people have never been reviewed.
Yeah.
So I sort of submitted an abbreviated version of everyone else and mine today.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the review
Okay.
and the feedback. I will try to fix issues this year that were brought up.
So I was trying to think who's not here.
Yeah, she has a stomach bug.
Okay, with that, I'd like to move on to new business. So the first one on my list is the budget for fiscal year 19, which that must be this stuff that we have in front of us.
Yeah.
So the story behind this is that Matt sent out a memo, and he sent it out January
11?
No, this was when I sent it to him. But he sent it out early in January. Actually, it was the day before we had a snow day. So it was the day before that big snowstorm. It was on a Thursday.
January 3rd.
January 3rd. And we had until January 17th to prepare a 5-year budget forecast that is based on trying to maintain the current level of service. So the first 4 columns are the actual amounts that were spent 2014 through 2017. The 5th column is the 2018 budget. And then moving forward is projected what we would need to remain, you know, at our current level of operations. This assumes that everyone gets a 1.5% COLA every year. And he populated these first. Then he sent it out and said, you know, he pointed out what he thought was credible, what he thought was indefensible about, you know, our previous budgeting and moving forward. And so, like, this bullet points in the memo sort of goes through all the line items and explains, you know, where I changed things that he had put in based on previous trends and where I left things the same. So, like, he's done, you know, the math on heating based on fuel cost estimated for the next 5 years, and, you know, there's all these formulas the state goes by, and he's done, basically, he gave the trend and then invited us to tweak it and send it back. So that's what I did, and I'll be talking about this to FinCom next week on Tuesday, because he wants FinCom to be presented with, you know, these kinds of numbers, not the, okay, we can slash here, we can cut there and make ends meet by doing this. He wants them to see, this is what we need to do what we need to do. So this was interesting because, you know, previously I've always just gone by the MAR and tried to keep our budget request as close as possible to the MAR in order to not, make the library any more of a burden on the budget season than it has to be. But if we do want to maintain services at their current level, then I'm going to need to start requesting more than MAR. And I mean, that's a pretty accurate picture of things anyway, I think, because nothing is inflating lower than 2.5%. And MAR isn't even a 2.5% of the last fiscal year. It's a 2.5% of the average of the last three. So in effect, it's more like kind of a 1.75% a year increase. So this is what will be, assuming approval tonight, because I'm not going to present things to FinCon that are not approved by you guys. But as it stands, this is what I've got that I'll be giving them on a week from tonight. So questions, comments, explanations.
Okay, I'm looking at the building EQ repairs. You're eliminating that line item because we're gonna use capital expense.
Which one is that?
54300.
0. What did I write on that one? Yes.
Because
So we do tend to pay for things like that out of grant money. So building equipment repairs. I actually didn't budget anything for it this year, and we didn't spend anything on it last year. In 2016, I think that some things ended up in that line item, like, replacement bulbs and this and that and the other. There's 3 line items that are really kind of tricky. The building and equipment repair, and the repairs and maintenance and other property related expenses. I can never tell what belongs in which one of those GL numbers. And sometimes I'll submit a voucher and then Gene will send it back and saying, that should really be in other property related expenses instead of repairs and maintenance. And, to me, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So I just run with it and let it go. But some things we do, so like repairs and maintenance, the furnace tune-up, I tend to use the operational budget for. But, it seemed the precedent was whenever I started that whenever we have a big capital expense or even, like smaller ones, we tended to go into the grant funds because that's what we used for the stairs and the chimney. And those were projects that were underway before I started, and I've just continued doing that.
what's custodial support? It's that. Or supply?
Custodial supplies is
Toilet
paper and hand
Paper
towels,
yeah.
cleaning chemicals. The only reason it was a big expense in 2016 is because we bought a vacuum cleaner. Ricky wanted a vacuum cleaner. I thought that was reasonable.
What was he doing?
Vacuuming. Well, he had like an old ratty one, like a home use. He wanted like a professional, it's basically a backpack unit with a thing on the back. We got it. I loved it so much I bought one for home. Because you can like vacuum the walls.
Yeah.
Everything.
And what did the dues membership for? And not anymore.
That's been our motion picture license for showing films in the building. I don't know what Ann used it for in 2015. But in 2016 and 17, I used it for the motion picture license. I think this year I paid for it with donations because it hasn't really generated enough use that I saw it as a worthy expense of taxpayer money. And next year I'm considering just not getting it because, Jerry's movie tonight is really the first movie this fiscal year that we've had more than one person show up to see. So the senior center has one, and the most successful programs we've had with films have been at the senior center. So we could just keep piggybacking off of theirs. If we want to watch a movie, we use the senior center instead of paying for our own license. because it's they are tied to facility rather than entity. So like if the library wanted to show a film in the high school auditorium, our license wouldn't cover it, but the high schools would. And so there's plenty other venues in town that have this license, and I'd kind of like to branch out into having more library programs outside the library.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to buy it anymore. There was another expense that was other services, I think. That's traditionally been our website.
Oh, and you want
Yeah.
the friends to pay for that, right?
And I want the friends to pay for the website if
Yeah, no,
possible,
that
because I
sounds good.
switched the library website to a WordPress, because after we did the whole website revamp where we made it mobile friendly, and then we tried the whole app thing, which was kind of a disaster, and I wasn't satisfied with the way the website looked, so me and Rebecca, the archivist, we just built one from the ground up, and since it was an experiment, I just paid for it last year. But this year, I'm hoping the friends will pick it up with a credit card, because it's one of those things that has to be paid with a credit card. They're not going to let us send in a check. It's through WordPress. But so that means that we don't have to pay Dale anymore for the website maintenance, because we were doing Piper Mountain Webs with Dale Gormady, and it has made things a lot better, and it's cheaper. I like it. Does everyone agree the website's better than it used to be?
Yeah, yeah. I like it much better.
So
And the
we're,
other thing was another expense I plan on eliminating next year is, I think, $450 is what we've been paying for Wowbrary, which is that thing that automatically
I love that.
posts to the...
I'm the only one that
Website
uses it, I think.
Yeah, it's generated no use at all. And I think it's at this point it's spamming the Facebook feed. I can send you an email with all the bestsellers and new things.
Yeah, I could look at
Did you
it.
ever hear of shelf awareness? Have you ever seen that?
Shelf awareness?
Yeah, that's like my library.
No.
And another expense that I've eliminated out of circulating, but since we're talking about, expenses I'm cutting, is we have had so much trouble with the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. They charge a lot of money. I mean, we lose
Really?
a lot of our circulating materials budget, goes to the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. And we get it maybe 3/4 of the time we're supposed to.
Really?
And they don't, we've tried to say, have your delivery person put it in the book drop. But, half the time we go out to pick up our paper, you just have to sort of guess where it
you
is on the
find out.
sidewalk.
Sometimes it's red.
And if it's a
sometimes
rainy
yellow.
day, it might be washed down in front of the pizza shop. And I've talked to them about this multiple times, and the issue hasn't been fixed. And at this point, it's just a money sink, because we're not getting the service we're paying for. I would love to be, but we're not.
You can't not have paper. You have to.
Well, we'll have to look into an online subscription or something. And people
Well, you get
haven't
it.
used them. We had a guy who came in and looked at the paper every morning, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Really?
I look at the paper every day.
I do
Yeah, but
too.
you have your own.
I subscribe to it, though. I mean, I pay.
And ours comes pretty. We do too. I do too.
Yeah,
and
it
it comes
might
every
be
day.
maybe-
Once in a great.
Yeah,
Wow,
3
it
or 4
doesn't
times a year. You
But usually it's because
you-
of weather related or press related or something. But
Yeah, and then they make it up either by giving you credit or bringing it the next day.
But at $800 a year, it's a huge investment.
I didn't know it was that amount. I thought it was
Really?
like $3.95 or
Yeah,
something.
well, you can
it's-
try to get a better deal, but if the regular rate is like it's ridiculous. Wow.
Yeah, good thing I do.
I
all
buy
the
a
puzzles.
lot of books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or we're paying more for the newspaper that we don't get very often than I am on DVDs in a whole year.
Yeah.
Can you wheel and deal?
And
with
it doesn't generate circs.
Because you have to pay more than an individual.
Okay, I have a suggestion.
Because the individual rate isn't anywhere near that much.
No,
Yeah, our
it is.
institutional
Yes.
rate. Yeah,
They
the,
don't-
I
they
think
don't
the
have
individual rate's
$3.95
like...
or something.
There is.
200 something.
I don't think there's an institutional rate, and there should.
I know it's like almost $900 for our annual subscription.
Yeah, that's a regular rate.
But
It's
yours,
not the
do you get
individual,
it?
right?
Yeah, I
Yes,
didn't
it
think it
is.
was.
I don't pay $800 a year. You should call them and ask them if you can't
do.
get it.
I found ways around it too, but if you, that's basically the rack rate.
What you would pay if you went to the kiosk and bought it?
Yeah.
Even more than that. But, no, if you just go onto the, look at the price online, on their website, that's what it is.
Do all libraries pay that? Have you chatted about that at one of your library meetings?
But
I haven't. No one ever talks
found
about
if
newspapers.
If you call and you can
My
get
father
different
was a
answers.
newspaper
then-
man, so I'm sorry.
answering the phone.
But stay loyal to it.
Well, if there's no institutional rate, maybe they would send it to a name there. Does it come to Simon Fairfield Public Library?
I think so.
Or to
Maybe you
Simon.
could ask them if they would send it, tell them it's a library, but ask if they'd put a name on it.
Like Simon Fairfield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Is it?
Talk to
anybody
them,
really
because that's
using it?
Well, we could,
ridiculous.
yeah, Simon Fairfield, Douglas Public Library.
Call them up and
Yeah, Simon
tell them
Fairfield.
you're not gonna
Yeah,
get it
yeah,
because it's too much and negotiate with them.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's worth it because nobody uses it.
You're not getting anybody coming in to sit there.
Right.
Then who gets the Sunday paper?
It
The
stays
thing
there
is, if you
until-
get it, you
Yeah,
get it
until you get the
online.
money.
If it's still there.
Justin, I found a way to get it for less money, so I'll tell you about it.
Send me an email.
Okay.
Because if I get it for less money, then it might be, I don't know. Because I know,
How about, like-
it has a nostalgic value to a lot of people, but it's...
But I found this way, and I'll tell you what it is, because my mother is in a nursing home, and she, I buy it for her too, and I buy it for myself, so I pay a lot of money for this newspaper. But I'm in that business, so
Yeah.
I do it. But I found a way to get it for her for the week, for 6 days, for $20 a month.
Well,
No Sunday, but just during the week.
Yeah, well, that'd be good.
So
okay.
that makes sense, right?
So there's a lot of stuff here in the budget. Everybody get?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right, so tell me, because I don't know, we're out 6 years, 5 years. What's that help the town? I mean, obviously there's an increase, but so what they're looking for is they can see what it's going to increase and tax accordingly, or and they just know. I mean, heat, oil, electric. Well, I see it goes up. It's not too bad. Some the electric goes up $100 a year.
And these are guesses,
Yeah.
These are
Estimated, educated estimates.
educated estimates.
So why are they so much more than the MAR? All of these things.
No, the MAR is just the 2.5% of the average of the last 3 years, which
I know, but
is,
yeah.
But I mean, whenever you look at projected costs of things, mostly, it's if everyone gets a 1.5% COLA every year, that pretty much eats up the MAR. Because whenever you do like the 2.5% of the average of the last 3 years, like 1.5 to 1.75% increase over the last fiscal year is usually about what you see. And the MAR is designed by the MBLC to kind of be the minimum baseline. I mean, it's like the minimum net school spending. It's like if you drop below this level, then you're decertified. But, this is, ideally, you would be getting more.
So
But, electricity increases by more than 2.5%. Heating increases by more than 2.5%. Our CWMR's assessment's probably going to increase by more like 3.5%. So, I mean, eventually, if we wanted to stay down at MAR, we would have to... No, I mean, by the time you get to 2023, you're looking at a $10,000 difference. That's a staff person. That's
But it goes
our
up-
CWMR's membership.
if your budget in so the 218,000 is based on the 214,000 budget, right?
Yes, because if any year this number changes,
So if
because
you
these all
spend-
assume that the last year is the same. So I mean, so if we got $225,000 next year instead of 2018, then the 2021 on the next line would jump up.
Right, exactly. So that's the MAR isn't really true there.
No, The MAR figures beyond 2019, because that is what our 2019 MAR will be. The numbers after that just assume that we get MAR for the year before, because that's sort of the MAR line. Because that's one strategy, you know, is if we're wanting to keep the library a viable part of the town government, not fight too hard for money and not try to rock the boat, then we just make our budget request MAR every year, and then, you know, we cut where we need to, or we defray the cost with other funds by trying to fundraise or pursue more grants or whatnot, or as the new town administrator thinks, you know, like if you have an operational expense that you can predict year to year to year, it should be part of your operational budget, which would mean we would want to sort of try to get this, you know, service projection budget rather than the MAR budget.
How come the book budget jumped $5,000 into 2020 fiscal year, which says 2019 up above?
From 2018 to 2019?
Yeah, so is the budget for 2018, that's what we're in right now, right?
Well, the budget for 2018 is not a service-based budget. So this is, you know, basically, you know, where, because this was the product of me saying, okay, this is what our MAR is. And since last budget cycle was so intense and we almost got our budget cut in half or closed, we were just looking for, I was looking for every way, every bone I could throw to sort of keep that from happening. So I factored in the Moan donations and subtracted our circulation budget by that amount. I factored in what we would be spending out of the revolving account and decreased our budget request by that amount. And that pretty much accounts for it, because we did a $2,500 revolving account approval at town meeting last spring, which let us lower our MAR by that amount, or lower our budget request by that amount. And so we knew that we would kind of be paying the piper somewhere down the road, because the MBLC is taking away that structure, because you can't use revolving accounts anymore
To
supplement your MAR, which is why our 2019 MAR is calculated a little bit less than what it should be.
So,
because they're trying to offset that. But, you know, from 2017 to 2018, you know, I only requested an extra like $300 over what I requested in 2017. And, you know, that was in order to say, you know, look, we're cognizant of the town's problems. Please don't defund us, because you don't want to spend anything out of free cash. So, I mean, continuing that trend down the road, we can't use the revolving fund anymore. But, you know, like in 2019, if I were to just request MAR, then the difference between what our budget would need to be and what I requested from the town would be that, you know, $7,000 underneath it, 6992.77. And our strategy, you know, could be, well, let's try to stay at the MAR and then use other money to supplement that amount. Or let's try to get our operational budget from the town, and then the extra money that we have we can use, you know, to add services beyond our operational minimum. So it's kind of a philosophical question, you know, as to what we want to drive for. Do we want to, when I go before the finance committee, do you want me to say, look, we'll do everything in our power to toe the MAR line for the next 5 years? Or do y'all want me to say, look, I need this money for our operational budget because these other these other sources of revenue are not consistent, you know, if they're not an annual appropriation, you know, our Moan donation could stop coming in, the state budget could go floppity flop, and there would go our library incentive grant, municipal equalization grant money. I mean, these are monies that we kind of expect year after year, but they're by no means a guarantee.
And the difference also will change if we're getting the projected amount and not the MAR, but the MAR number will increase from one year to the next,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it may not be this number at the very end of 2023 budget.
Yeah, because if we asked for, well, it'll never be less. MAR will never be less than that.
Right, but
But
I'm saying
it
the
could be
difference,
more.
the difference would get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If the MAR number is more, that 10,388.66 would become
Would be
smaller.
less. Mm-hmm.
So when Matt sent his report to you, where the FY or he sent all of this history, and then did he put suggested things here, or did you just base it on his memo?
He put suggested things here.
And how did they pan out in your mind?
Well, that's what my response to his memo is.
Yeah,
Because each bullet point here is a line item. So, like,
yeah.
he had, I don't know what the electricity usage, and the problem with his numbers is that there's a radically different way. If you look at some of the numbers, I mean, Anne just ran the library differently than I did. And it's reflected in some places in the budget. Like, she did not use the circulating materials line item.
That's because Jean told her not to. That wasn't Ann's fault. Jean said, you use it for other materials, or other. That's the way Jean orchestrated it to Anne. So
But see, that basically because what he was doing was math.
Mm-hmm.
And so, story aside, his analysis, whatever, would see 2014, 32,000, 2015, 32,000, 2016, 2,000, and like throw up a giant exclamation point. Basically his memo to me was like, that line's not credible.
Yeah.
You have to come up with a new number to defend it. So some of these places, I came up with new numbers and explained what they are. I left his heating alone. Electric, I just kind of assumed a $100 a year increase because his math was sort of messed up by 2014. I don't know what happened in 2014, whether there was a huge price hike between 2014 and 15, or whether, you can see the amount. It just jumps. And, repairs and maintenance has been a line item we've used inconsistently. Other property-related expenses has been used inconsistently. The telephone is a line item that gets messed up because anytime we do like a service call, whenever I had the fax line installed, that just gets baked into the phone bill. Mm-hmm. So that threw in, an extra statistical anomaly there.
How much you upped the price of overdues and coming in, and also the fax and the copying fees. How do you see that as a benefit for? It goes into the free cash for the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the circulation fees go into our revolving account. So whenever the finance committee last year said, you should charge circulation fees to help offset things, and since we were using the revolving account to try to defray our budget costs, I was like, okay, sure, if it'll make you happy and keep you from taking away $100,000, I'll reinstitute circ fees. The printing and the fax, that goes into the town's general fund.
okay, and I know you just started doing that recently.
Well, the printing we've done for a long time. I started charging for the faxes, not so much for the money, so much as just to prevent abuse of the fax machine.
Yeah. So how's the revenue there going? I mean, how much do you bring in?
I honestly haven't been tracking it that much because it goes into the general fund and I don't care.
No, but you do. I mean, you have to fill out a form.
I do have to fill out the forms. I just
Yeah.
haven't been tracking it in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, because that would be interesting, and that would be a way to say, listen, we're bringing in this amount of money for, and I think it should be in the annual report too. Not your annual report, but
The town's annual report, the revenue line items.
Yeah, in the treasurer's report, that what library fines and well, not the library fines, but the fees, the copying and the fax fees. And it's, I mean, it is a good way to promote stuff. Hey, we are bringing in stuff for you.
We bring in some money. We try to make some money.
We promote our services too, in a way.
Right, exactly. You know, if it's $5,000, that's great, you know, just to be able to promote it.
Yeah, I need to run a revenue report on that and find out.
And what is Matt's thoughts on the revenues that from the state and from the taxes that the town may be getting? Does he feel happy or sad or you know?
I don't know.
I mean, in a department's head meeting, has he said, I don't see a dire situation for the town. I think through our taxes, our real estate taxes, and through state, whatever those are called, those other things that the state gives you.
Yeah, he hasn't talked much about the budget and what's going on. You know, we're kind of all on our toes right now because
Yeah.
you know, when I made this, I didn't know FinCom was ever going to see it. I thought it was just an exercise for him, but he is going to give this to FinCom, and so we'll be talking about it next week.
Ah,
So this is going to be different. It's budget season. You know, I've never done the budget like this before. I've never gone through line item by line item for the library and said, okay, this is what we need to sustain that. I've always done it from the top down, you know, going with the MAR and then projecting it downwards. But, you know, he said that this is precisely the reason he wanted everyone in the town to do this, because every department had to do this, is just to see the difference between what we project versus
an actual.
an actual. Because the $240,000 in 2023 is like the best actual estimate of how much money we will need to run the library that year, according to, you know,
The
this
formulas.
projection. Whereas according to what I probably would have done if we hadn't have engaged in this exercise, would have probably been more equivalent to the MAR line, and just, you know,
Surprise.
try to make
Yeah.
ends meet, and
Right.
you know, then 2023 comes
Yeah.
along, and you know, surprise, I have to fire somebody.
Yeah,
because we don't
that's
have
right.
enough money, and you know, I can't ask for like
Just
a
like we-
$20,000 budget jump from the town.
What we went through last year.
It's like the you know, as our friend
No,
Kevin
it's a
Morse
good
likes
job.
to say, kicking the can down the road
Yeah.
is kind of what the MAR line could be construed as doing.
No, like you said, it's a good exercise to see what
Well, it's
what
good
the
exercise
reality
for
is.
us also to see
Yep,
that
that's right.
projection.
No.
That's true.
It was definitely a good exercise for me because it made me panic.
Yep. Well,
It's not an easy
I noticed
job.
you had
Because you
kinda
know
left
this is 1.5% cola. You know, cola hasn't been 1.5% either of the 2 years I've worked here. 1 year it was 2.5, 1 year it was 2.
Because it's based on what the unions are getting, not what the cost of living is.
But he made it clear that for the sake of this exercise, 1.5% cola and no step increases. So I mean that would increase it even more.
right.
And it's not the operational costs which, you know,
No.
do us in. It is the personnel costs.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just a comment.
Go ahead.
Just want to say that I appreciate the literary references and the irreverent commentary to kind of lighten up the subject.
Oh.
Very boring subject.
You know, you have to throw in something. Always
Yep.
try to throw in something.
Okay. With that, is there any other new business?
Well, should we vote on this?
Well,
Oh, all right. With that needs
I need to ask you guys a
motion, I guess,
question. You know,
Okay.
when I'm sitting before the finance committee next Tuesday night, and they're asking me questions about this, what is sort of the collective will of the trustees? Do you want, this total, do you want me to advocate for this total library projected amount according to the forecast here, or do you want me to say, look, we want to get along with everyone and be a team player, we'll take one for the team, and we're going to, try to keep our budget down closer to Mar?
No.
No,
No.
that's what you're asking for. They can come back.
So I'm asking for 225.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're asking for
854.77.
225, and then if they push back too hard, too hard, then we'll negotiate.
That's because
So is
this number
a
here,
separate, is this meeting with FinCom specifically to talk about the 5-year projection, or is this everyone's presenting, or whoever's presenting their budgets for next year?
I don't know.
Well, there was, Highway was in there tonight, so
Mhm.
there's
I'll watch their meeting before I go into mine
That's
next
a good
Tuesday.
idea. Yeah.
But I thought that this was kind of a thought exercise, and I would get a chance to make another budget before presenting to FinCom, and but they're, I don't know. I mean, I kind of don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, that's.
But
a
if there are
little
no step
confusing.
increases, no department put any step increases in?
None. These were
So he must be planning to
Universal-
change this because we can't go 5 years with no step increases. That's not gonna happen.
I
So
don't
it's
know.
not an accurate budget.
Regardless, 225 is more than I would have asked for if we hadn't have done this math.
yeah. But you'd have been missing because that number, the 162,662.75, that number is technically a fixed number.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you're gonna do about that, and and that has no step increases.
Yep.
And it's kept what if they come in and say, yeah, you've gotta do a step, or if the percentage is up more or something, that changes this all the way around, and they're dictating that to you.
Well, I think that they always have.
Yes.
Every year,
I've got
Mike
that.
has said either you give step increases or you don't.
No, he gives, the rest of the town, you may not get one, but the rest of the town all get exactly what they've been told that they can have. They'll take the top amount. They don't play around, they just take everything they can get, so that's.
Well, I mean, that's the COLAs, but like for the municipal employees, there's that, the step scale
Yeah,
where you can
they're,
bump up.
yeah, they're all bumped up. Every year they take that step.
No, last year no one took that step. It
Well,
was frozen.
then that was the case. But if they say you can get a step increase.
If
I
they say
remember-
you can get a step increase, usually everyone gets a
and
step
you
increase.
did not do it.
I didn't take it, no.
And you got praised by Carol Gugulinski, as I recall. She was very happy.
It was my first year on the job. I felt
Yeah.
like I was adequately compensated for what I was doing, and I wanted to spend that money on books.
Yeah. No, but everybody, nobody doesn't get a step raise if they are offered. They all just take it automatically.
All right, 225, 854.
Everybody in agreement with that? Right.
I make a motion that we accept the budget that Justin has presented us.
I'll second that motion.
Right. And that number's at the 225, 854.77. Right? All those in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Terrific.
Now, if we have to pass a 2.5 override next year, it's the library's fault.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, it's always your fault.
Right now, the school is facing a shortage in just their transportation budget. That shortage is our budget. It's like $208,000 this year.
Wow.
People are leaving the town to go to school and having the town pay for it.
Well, she was to privatize everything. Down with the government.
I'm sure that goes smoothly.
On that,
Ron Swanson, man.
other new business. Anybody else?
Did everyone have a chance to look at my annual report that I
Yeah.
sent last
Yeah.
week? And so no one had any criticisms or critiques or anything?
I liked it.
Nope.
No,
Okay, no.
very nice.
Good.
And I also just wanted to say that the $512 fiasco is over, and we did get our official certification certificate this year, and we should expect like a $5,012 check for our municipal appropriation grant, or LIGMEG grant, Library Incentive Grant and Municipal Equalization Grants.
I thought that was closer to $10,000, 9 or 10.
Well, that's the first installment, because they
Oh.
give us approximately half now, and then depending on the state of the, state's coffers towards the end of the fiscal year, we'll get the other half pretty much right before the end of the fiscal year. Which isn't a problem for us, because we can carry over. For other
Yeah.
departments who can't carry that stuff over, because it works that way, like with all these grants and things, it can be challenging.
Okay. Any other new business? Any other questions? All right. Our next meeting is February 27th. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. That's a standing vote. And again, thank you very much for your time.